Hello everyone and welcome to Daria Draws. If you're looking to create a beautiful and lifelike pet portrait using oils but you're not sure how to do that, this video is for you. This is a step-by-step guide where I also give some tips as a professional fine artist for you to improve your painting skills. Now, the first thing I like to do, apart from sketching on a scratch paper and just getting all of my ideas in order, is to prep the palette, and I cannot stress enough the importance of that. It not only organizes your thoughts and gives you like a more defined setting, but also it saves you so much time during the process. My cat is gray, so I'm prepping a few shades of gray, a couple shades of blue of the bag that he's sitting on, and a few shades of background. So for example, if you have a cat or a dog of a different color, you would be prepping a few shades ranging from the lightest to darkest of your own animal, of your own pet. Now, as you can see, I'm not creating all the possible shade combinations. I just need 2 to 4, and that will be enough to give me enough freedom to create the values. Now, defining the composition is very important because that will give the structure to your entire painting on the canvas itself. So I'm starting off with a charcoal sketch. I'm marking, of course, the edges of the drawing so that I don't make the cat too big or too small, so that it's proportionate to the canvas, but at the same time I still have place for other things like the bag, and the background still looks nice. In case you're not doing a full body portrait of your pet, you can definitely just fit kind of shoulders and up, and you don't have to worry about the background too much. Once I'm done with the charcoal, I like to kind of seal it in with a little bit of turpentine and further elaborate the sketch so that my next step will be just a little easier and a faster flow. Now, the first layer of laying the color is not that important, but of course, the better job you do now, the easier things will be later on. So I like to start somewhere in the mid-tone area, so I wouldn't go way too dark or way too light, because with oils it's easier to go lighter than go darker. So somewhere in the middle is just fine, so that you can kind of go both ways, especially if you're just starting out. Don't pressure yourself too much into doing the values perfectly. And once that kind of middle color is done, I'm starting to define the shapes just a little bit, just a tiny bit lighter. So you don't see any crazy contrast straight away. We're just taking it slow and kind of adding a little bit of the forms. Now that of course depends on the light, how it's hitting your pet, and that is something you would have to just look at if you're painting from life or a reference photo. That's just something you have to simply look out for. And once that is done, I kind of lost a little bit of those outlines and a little bit of shape, which is perfectly normal. And I'm just redefining it with the darker color just a little bit so that I don't lose all of those outlines and all of the sketch that I've previously done in the process. Also, that is a great opportunity to fix any of the mistakes that you may have, because sketching is a great tool, but sometimes you still make mistakes, and once you lay the color, they're a little more obvious. So before we go too far, it's better to fix those now. Now, step 4 is the background. As you probably noticed, we did not finish painting the cat whatsoever. It is in a very raw and a kind of beginner stage, and that happens for a reason. I think that working on the painting needs to be done kind of all at once, so that anything that is missing or needs more work is more obvious. But if you work on one thing at a time and kind of complete it, then the full picture is not really painted. So it's better to leave the cat at this point and work a little bit on the background, add the color, see how the colors work together, and then the picture will be just a little bit more complete, and then we will be going back to the cat and back to the background once again. Now I'm using pretty much the same principle with the background as I did with the cat. First, we're doing some kind of midtones to shadows, and then we're adding just a little bit more light. As you can see, the painting now is pretty dull, like there aren't any bright colors, and that's for the reason that I said it's easier to go brighter later on than go darker. So we're starting off with duller tones, and then we'll be going in with lighter ones in a second, and we're gonna build that contrast. Now we're gonna just pull apart the lights and the darks so that our spectrum of the values is just a little bit kind of wider, and it's gonna look more interesting for the viewer. And of course that will also add definition, and the portrait will look just a little more lifelike. What I also would like to mention is that character is very important, right? That's the main reason we love our pets so much, is because they do quirky, weird things, and of course each animal is unique. So make sure to include a certain detail or a certain facial expression maybe your pet does, because that's what makes them them, right? So don't do like something very generic and boring, because I feel like our pets deserve to be pictured and just be painted the way they are. Also, at this point, I'm keeping the brush work very light, very expressive. Of course, if we were doing a perfectly classical portrait, we would be a little more gentle and looking for smoother transitions, although that is something we're going to work on, but a bit later. I'm just kind of looking at the reference photos that I have, also looking at my cat because he does appear in my studio quite often, and just kind of trying to tie everything together and make the painting look a little more effortless with those wild brush strokes. Now, when we're reaching this stage of detailing, it's important to understand what's important in a painting and what's not, so that you don't add details to the things that are not important, like the background in this case, right? So we would be softening it up just a little bit because we don't need that much wildness in there. Also, I'm lighting it up just a bit to further accentuate the silhouette of the cat, to bring it out and make it pop just a little more. And of course, I'm working a lot on the facial expression that he has, and a little bit detailing in like the shoulder chest area and the paws. You can see that I'm not paying attention too much to the back and the leg or the hip, basically where he's sitting, just because it doesn't really convey anything, it's just there. So the most important part will definitely be the face, right? And then the paws, and the overall posture, of course, is also important. That's why the silhouette is highlighted in this case. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, learned a couple tricks. Subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you in the next one.